Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever found yourself staring at a screen trying to plan a cruise, you know that feeling. It's a mix of excitement and just, wow, absolute bewilderment at the sheer number of choices out there. Which destination, what kind of ship, and how on earth do you make everyone happy if it's a big family trip or figure out how to go completely solo. It's a whole journey before you even step on the ship. So today we're diving deep into your sources to try and cut through some of that complexity. Our mission really is to demystify cruise travel. We want to guide you through what makes an unforgettable trip, whether you're navigating, tricky family dynamics, embracing the freedom of solo adventure, or just chasing the best value for your dream destination.
That's exactly right. Think of us as your navigators for this. We're going to distill the essential insights, those real aha moments from all the material you've shared. The goal here is to empower you to confidently pick a cruise that perfectly aligns with what you want. Maybe it's the majestic glaciers of Alaska. Maybe it's the sun-drenched history of the Mediterranean. No more feeling overwhelmed, just, pure informed excitement for your next great escape.
Okay, diving right in. Let's start with what can feel like the biggest puzzle. Family and multi-generational cruising. Bringing together grandparents, parents, kids, teens. It's a wonderful idea, but definitely a challenge. You want everyone to have the vacation of a lifetime, right? So what do our sources reveal about the ships and amenities that truly bridge those generational gaps? How do you keep every single age group engaged?
Well, cruise lines have really stepped up to meet this exact challenge, especially when we look at destinations like Alaska. For families where the idea of vacation is nonstop action, the mega ships from lines like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian are basically floating adventure parks. Think about Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas. It has a skydiving simulator, bumper cars. Or Norwegian Encore, which packs in laser tag, go-karts, a virtual reality pavilion. These are absolutely designed to ensure everyone, from the youngest kids to thrill-seeking teens, finds their thing. Carnival, too, with ships like Carnival Spirit, really delivers on this. Water parks, mini golf, even Guy Fieri burgers included in the fare, which, helps after all that running around.
Okay, so those are the high-energy options. Lots of bells and whistles.
Definitely. But if the goal is maybe a more immersive, almost storybook kind of experience, our sources consistently point towards Disney Cruise Line. The Disney Wonder, for instance, gets highlighted as a perfect size. It's smaller than many megaships, which means less crowded glacier viewing in Alaska. And of course, it's just steeped in Disney magic. You've got character experiences, themed dining straight out of The Little Mermaid, Broadway caliber Frozen stage shows, and a really practical detail that families seem to love are their cabins thoughtfully designed with bunk beds and split bathrooms. A total game changer for getting everyone ready in the morning.
Oh, I can absolutely see those split bathrooms being a lifesaver with kids. That's smart. It's interesting how Disney blends the magic with that kind of practicality. But what about lines that, might traditionally be seen as skewing a bit older, like Princess or maybe even Holland America? Do they really cater well to the multi-generational crowd?
They absolutely do, and sometimes in quite surprising ways. Princess cruises, maybe with ships like Sapphire Princess, are actively positioning themselves as intergenerational. They have solid kids and teen programs, sure, but also unique offerings specifically for Alaska, like having adorable sled dog puppies on board for kids to meet, and junior ranger activities led by actual park rangers in Glacier Bay. That's pretty cool there. Princess medallions are also a huge plus for families, simplifying everything from boarding to just finding each other around the ship.
Right, those medallions, yeah, makes sense.
In Holland America Line, or HAL, it definitely has that reputation for an older demographic. Yet, there was a fascinating insight from the Reddit thread you shared. It mentioned teens on a HAL Alaska cruise having a blast with non-thrill activities, things like ping pong, wildlife talks, and of course the ever-popular room service. Club HAL, especially on newer ships like the Koningsdam, is also noted as being quite good. So it really shows that perception isn't always the full picture, particularly when the destination itself, like Alaska's nature, becomes the main attraction.
That's a good point, the destination focus.
And for those really active families who want to be immersed in nature, there are even smaller ship options. Uncruise Adventures, with its wilderness legacy, offers specific kids in nature departures. These are for families with kids aged 8 and up. The focus is all on active exploration. Hiking, biking, kayaking. They even have specialized kid wranglers to lead activities. Lindblad National Geographic also has its Global Explorer program for kids, which is great for more educational adventures.
So it's definitely not just about the megaships for families then. That's really good to know. Now, switching gears maybe to warmer climates, what about multi-generational options for, let's say, the Mediterranean?
For the Mediterranean, yeah, luxury lines like Crystal Symphony and Seven Seas Splendor get positive mentions for multi-generational appeal in the sources. However, it does make you wonder, even within that luxury segment, the demographics can vary quite a bit. There was one specific review where an 80-year-old traveler on Seven Seas Splendor felt there were just too many children on board for their taste, which really highlights that while many lines aim to be family friendly, you need to research the actual typical passenger mix and find the right balance for everyone in your particular group.
Okay, so the real takeaway here seems to be aligning the ship's whole vibe, its atmosphere, its amenities, with the energy levels and interest of everyone in your group. That's paramount. Whether you're chasing bumper cars and laser tag, or maybe tranquil nature walks and quality time together, the key is to look beyond just the marketing and dive into what's truly on offer. All right, our next deep dive takes us into the world of solo travel. The idea of cruising alone has absolutely surged in popularity, hasn't it? It offers this unique blend of freedom and, potentially, connection. But our sources make it abundantly clear. Not all cruise lines are created equal for this experience. Not at all.
That's such a critical distinction. For solo cruisers, there are really two core concepts that reign supreme. First, solo staterooms. These are cabins specifically designed and priced for one person. And second, the dreaded solo supplement. This supplement is typically, and often painfully, a 200% charge. Essentially, you're paying double because you're occupying a room built for two. A key revelation from our sources is how some lines are actively working to reduce or even completely waive this supplement, which makes a massive difference in affordability.
Right, that 200% charge is a killer, so who's doing it right?
Well, Zach the Traveling Man, one of your sources, gives us an excellent breakdown. Topping his list for both value and commitment is Norwegian Cruise Line, or NCL. They've made a really significant investment here. They offer solo staterooms on all their ships. And these aren't just tiny closets, they're standard-sized rooms in various categories. Crucially, they charge little to no solo supplement for these rooms. That's huge. Plus, their free-at-sea perks often bundle in things like drinks, dining, Wi-Fi, excursions, fantastic value, and a huge bonus for fostering community. They have exclusive studio lounges on 10 of their ships. It's a dedicated space just for solo guests to meet and connect if they want to.
Wow, NCL really does sound like the gold standard for solo travelers then, especially with those dedicated lounges. It makes me wonder, for someone who's maybe never cruised alone before, what's the most common misconception about solo cruising that the sources help to debunk?
That's a great question. I think the biggest misconception is often that you'll be lonely or isolated. What really stands out from the sources is how lines like NCL actively counter this with those lounges. And Virgin Voyages, for example, fosters a very social atmosphere, though it's always optional. Speaking of Virgin Voyages, they come in as an excellent adults-only option. They offer more than 40 solo staterooms on each ship, either inside or ocean view, and critically, they have no solo supplement. Zero. Their adults-only 18-plus policy included dining across various cool restaurants instead of a main dining room, and lively entertainment make it a really attractive choice for solo adventurers looking for a vibrant, child-free environment without feeling like a third wheel.
No supplement at all. That's fantastic. Adults only too. Okay, what about celebrity?
Celebrity cruises, well, it presents more a mixed bag, according to the sources. While their newer Edge-class ships do feature solo Garanda staterooms, usually 16 to 32 per ship, they are also noted for having, quote, terrible solo pricing policies. Reviews cite inconsistent and sometimes very high solo supplements, potentially up to 556% in some cases. Ouch. And apparently a tendency to restrict solo bookings from lower cost categories. So despite having a generally laid-back atmosphere with few children, this conflicting approach suggests they haven't fully embraced the solo market, at least from a pricing perspective.
556%. Yeah, that's not very welcoming.
Not ideal, no. Then you have Princess Cruises. They've only recently started adding solo staterooms, just 4 on their new Sun and Star Princess ships. They generally still apply a solo supplement, and the actual savings for getting a smaller solo room can be pretty minimal sometimes. While they offer a nice laid-back vibe and good food, there's clearly room for improvement in their solo-specific offerings and, importantly, their pricing structure.
So it sounds like Princess is just kind of dipping its toes in the water for solo travelers, still a bit behind some of the others. Then what about the lines that are maybe least recommended for solo cruisers?
Well, Royal Caribbean, while fantastic for many, is primarily family-oriented. That's its focus. With its huge ships and all the thrill attractions, it's simply less ideal for solo travelers who are specifically looking for solitude or, solo-specific amenities. The energy is very much geared towards family fun. And right at the bottom of Zach's ranking for solo travelers is Carnival Cruise Line. Apparently, they have 0 solo staterooms across their entire fleet, none. And they consistently charge that 200% solo supplement. This really reflects a clear lack of commitment to the solo cruising market, making them the least recommended choice if you're traveling alone. Oh, and briefly, MSC Cruises was mentioned as having few solo cabins, and the reviewer expressed some caution based on a past negative experience. Holland American Line does offer solo cabins, but our reviewer hadn't personally tried them yet, so couldn't give a full assessment.
Okay, got it. So for your planning, this really means that if you're traveling solo, paying close attention to whether a cruise line offers actual solo-specific cabins and really understanding their solo supplement policies, well, it can dramatically change both your experience and your budget. It's not just about finding a cabin. It's about finding a line that truly welcomes and caters to solo guests in a meaningful way. Right, shifting gears now, let's explore the destinations themselves. Because where you go, that profoundly shapes your entire cruise experience, doesn't it? We've got some really rich details here on two incredibly iconic yet vastly different regions, Alaska and the Mediterranean.
Absolutely. And a crucial consideration emerges right away when planning your Alaska trip. Glacier access. It's not all the same, you know. You've got Glacier Bay National Park, which has limited ship entries. So lines like Princess, HAL, and NCL, they sort of rotate their visits. They often bring park rangers on board for narration, which is great. Then you have Hubbard Glacier. That's the largest tidewater glacier in North America, recently visited by Royal Caribbean and NCL. It's noted for being perhaps brighter, cleaner looking, and offering really impressive close-up calving views. And you also have Mendenhall Glacier in Juneau, which is an accessible land-based option, sometimes preferred because you can get a very direct view.
Okay, different glaciers, different experiences. Makes sense.
And another pivotal decision for Alaska, surprisingly, is your departure port, Seattle or Vancouver. The Reddit thread you shared strongly recommends sailing from Vancouver, and here's the reason why. You get to experience the truly scenic Canadian Inside Passage. That means smoother waters, stunning forests, tons of wildlife viewing, and you completely avoid the potentially rougher open Pacific crossing you get out of Seattle. Plus, by sailing from Vancouver, ships don't need that legally mandated stop in Victoria, BC on the return trip. That often translates to more actual time in the Alaskan ports themselves. And you can even take the Amtrak train from Seattle up to Vancouver pretty easily. It's a comfortable journey to your embarkation point.
Wow, okay. I never would have considered that the departure port for Alaska could so profoundly change the actual experience of the sailing, not just the logistics.
Yeah.
This is fantastic insight. What about the type of itinerary you choose, like one-way versus round trip?
Yeah, if you have a bit more time, definitely consider a one-way cruise. For instance, going from Vancouver up to Seward or Anchorage. These are ideal if you want to add land tours, allowing you to explore amazing places like Denali National Park. You can even travel via the Alaska Railroad Gold Star service, was mentioned as a really nice premium option there. As for key ports you'll likely visit, Juneau offers fantastic whale watching, and of course, Mendenhall Glacier. Skagway is famous for the White Pass and Yukon Route Scenic Railway and gold panning experiences. And in Ketchikan, you shouldn't miss the Lumberjack Show, Totem Bight State Historical Park, or maybe a flight scene trip into the majestic Misty Fjords. And a really critical packing tip for Alaska. Layers, 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 and good rain gear are absolutely essential. It can rain, believe it or not, up to 250 days a year in some parts.
250 days. Okay, noted. Rain gear is key.
Definitely. Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the Mediterranean offers just a completely different historical and cultural tapestry, right? While summer is undeniably popular, the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, are often calmer. Fewer crowds, more comfortable temperatures for sightseeing. Late autumn can even be surprisingly mild in many parts, offering a really unique perspective on the region.
That's good advice, the shoulder season tip. And are there different ways to experience the Med by cruise? Maybe different itinerary focuses?
Yes, absolutely. Itineraries are typically divided into two main types. You have the Western Mediterranean, which usually covers Italy, Monaco, France, and Spain. The focus there is often on rich culture, incredible museums, culinary tours, wineries, and stunning architecture. Then there's the Eastern Mediterranean. This typically includes places like Greece, Turkey, Israel, Montenegro, Croatia. Here, the draw is more towards ancient historic ruins, sacred sites, and perhaps more active pursuits like hiking through charming coastal landscapes. Oh, and one particularly insightful, kind of fun detail from the sources for Mediterranean packing. Besides the obvious need for comfortable shoes for all that sightseeing was the advice about dressing with a bit of panache. Apparently, Europeans tend to dress stylishly, even casually, so packing a chic scarf or hat is recommended. And maybe, just maybe, leave your cruise lanyard visible only on the ship and avoid socks with sandals if you want to fit in a bit more ashore. Just a little cultural tip. And yes, just to reiterate, a passport is absolutely unequivocally required for any Mediterranean cruise.
Okay, dress with panache, leave the socks and sandals at home. Got it. Ultimately, it seems for you, the listener, your chosen destination heavily influences everything from your port of departure and the kind of itinerary you pick to your packing list and even the type of glacier or ancient ruin you'll encounter. It truly is the cornerstone of your whole cruise experience. All right, let's pivot now to what is often the biggest question on everyone's mind. What am I really paying for? I remember looking at cruise prices once and thinking, well, this seems too good to be true. And it turns out sometimes it is, because those base prices can be incredibly deceptive. So let's try and demystify the different cruise bands or tiers and what's truly included in that price tag.
It's so true. The sticker price rarely tells the whole story. Understanding these tiers is absolutely crucial. Starting with what are often called contemporary lines, think Carnival, MSC, Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean. These often boast the lowest advertised base fares, but Carnival and Royal Caribbean typically operate on more of an a la carte model. That means you're paying extra for perks like drinks, packages, Wi-Fi, and even gratuities. In contrast, MSC and NCL, especially with NCL's free at sea bundles, can actually offer quite competitive all-included pricing, even though they're in that contemporary bracket. These lines are generally best for families who are really prioritizing those extensive ship amenities, the water parks, the go-karts, all that stuff.
Okay, so contemporary is often lowest base fare, but watch the extras.
Exactly. Moving up, you have the premium lines. This includes Celebrity, Princess, and Holland America. Now, a surprising insight here from the sources is that these lines can often offer a similar all-inclusive total cost to the contemporary lines once you factor in all the perks you'd likely add anyway, like drinks and Wi-Fi. Their focus shifts more towards excellent service, higher quality food, maybe more varied entertainment rather than the big thrill attractions. Celebrity in particular, even after some recent changes to its all-included package, is still often cited as offering strong value. Princess's upcoming Sphere-class ships are aiming for a more luxurious feel without being overly family-focused. And AAL's Have It All package is also a great way to bundle those perks.
Interesting. So if I'm not chasing the biggest slides or the most intense laser tag, I might find that a premium line, even with its higher base fare, actually comes out to a similar all-in price once I add the things I want, like a drinks package or Wi-Fi. What about the next step up from premium?
Precisely. Next, we have the ultra-premium lines. This category includes names like Disney, Azamara, Oceania, Viking Ocean, and Cunard. Now, these are definitely more expensive upfront, but here's where it gets really interesting. They can actually be price competitive with suites on the contemporary or premium ships. What you're getting here are generally smaller ships, more intimate settings, elevated dining where the main dining room food often rivals specialty restaurant quality on other lines, and sometimes they even include shore excursions. Azamara was specifically highlighted in your sources for offering good value within this particular segment. These ships are typically quieter, maybe with more subdued entertainment, making them a great choice if you prioritize a refined, destination-focused experience over, say, buzzing nightlife.
Quieter, more refined, potentially good value compared to a suite elsewhere.
Okay,
And the top tier.
right. Finally, at the top tier are the luxury lines: Regent Seven Seas, Silver Sea, and Seabourn. Here, Seabourn often gets mentioned as providing excellent value, especially on longer cruises. It can even become competitive with the cost of top-tier suites on other lines, but on Seabourn, you're getting a full suite experience for essentially everyone across the entire ship. The choice at this level often boils down to whether you prefer the whiz-bang attractions and scale of a large ship or a smaller, more intimate, quieter, and truly luxurious experience where almost everything, flights, excursions, drinks, tips, is genuinely included in the fare.
Okay, so we have these distinct tiers, but how do you actually compare them meaningfully when the inclusions vary so much?
This brings up a really critical point from the sources, the idea of using a value calculator. Now, this isn't some complex piece of software. It's more of a spreadsheet concept, really. You basically create a simple comparison where you factor in the base fare, all the taxes and fees, any onboard credit offered, and then add the cost of all the perks you actually want: drinks, Wi-Fi, tips, maybe specialty dining. Doing this helps you compare apples to apples across different lines and different fare types. For instance, one celebrity example mentioned showed how a cruise that looked expensive initially, once all the included perks were properly accounted for, could drop the perceived cost per person per night down to under $20, which is, frankly, exceptional value. It really demonstrates that a higher upfront price can often deliver much better overall value for the specific experience you actually want.
That's a fantastic practical tip. So the crucial insight for your next trip planning session is this. Don't just glance at the sticker price of a cruise and make a snap judgment. You need to factor in the total cost of the experience you truly want. A cruise that seems more expensive up front might actually offer significantly better value when you account for all the perks and inclusions that matter most to you, really giving you that all-encompassing vacation you're dreaming of.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've navigated the diverse and exciting world of cruising, from trying to ensure multi-generational happiness and embracing the possibilities of solo travel, to exploring iconic destinations like Alaska and the Med, and finally, decoding the true value behind that price tag.
You definitely now have a much more comprehensive toolkit, I think, to start planning your next voyage with real confidence. Whether you're seeking a ship packed with thrills for the grandkids, maybe a quiet, empowering retreat just for you, or perhaps a journey through ancient ruins, you're just better equipped now to make informed decisions that align with your deepest travel desires. So as you embark on planning your next escape, maybe consider this. Are you chasing the grand, almost overwhelming spectacle of a natural wonder like an Alaskan glacier? Or are you perhaps seeking a more serene, floating sanctuary, a home base that travels with you through culture and history? The sea offers both and so much more. But finding your perfect wave, well, that starts with really knowing what truly makes you happy.